Today's topic will be focusing on how women can position themselves in regional trade. Basically, women in business, I should tell you. Joining us this morning to discuss more of this particular situation is the CEO, Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Association Limited, Ms. Connie Kechihembo. Good morning.
Good morning to you and good morning, viewers.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. And first and foremost, I would want to see how have women in business been able to recover from the shocks of COVID?
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to send greetings to the women out there who are doing business in this country every day. You are doing a wonderful job to contributing to the development of this economy. We are aware that you actually pay your taxes very well, and we want to congratulate you. Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Association brings together very many women, small, medium, and large, across the country. We are 35 years old, and we have managed to mobilize about 2.8 million women to effectively engage into business at different levels. We do provide capacity building in terms of business skilling. We also focus highly in ensuring that we network, we connect our women to various opportunities, both in terms of markets, in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of ensuring that they can get critical partners that can help them do their businesses better. Besides that, we are mindful that we must have a very conducive environment for the women of this country to do business and the businesses to flourish. I've been asked to briefly talk about the recovery aspect from COVID. Of course, COVID did affect everybody, including men and women, but we realized that there was a lot of effect on women who are doing their business. During this time, I must say that we were able to notice a big gender gap in terms of how business was being done. I mean, how people were practicing their businesses during the lockdown and the trying moment. We also observed the fact that there was high responsibility in terms of childcare. As we're home, there was a bit of laxity of our counterparts, the men. The women had to put food on the table, at the same time had to ensure that there's childcare.
Yes.
Of course, we are aware that we are not paid an extra pay
for
childcare. And we wish our government can think about it, our members of parliament, that there is an extra shilling put aside for childcare. So that alone explains the effect it had in terms of how much money you had to look out for, how to run your business, and with all the new environment that we're getting in, getting customized to issues of digitalization to run your business. Of course, businesses were all closed. Most of them were all closed. Being innovative to see that you can still put food on the table, run your business, at the same time, do your gender roles. There was a lot of compromise. We saw during that time an increase in vulnerability among women who are doing business.
Yes.
We saw examples of how girls had to sell their bodies to be able to make money and bring food on the table. And it was okay for their families. Even the fathers didn't care about it. So it was a sad moment. We are still recovering from that. And as Uganda Women Entrepreneurs, we are doing our best to prepare women to get out of that shock. I know that's not the only shock we are getting. We are now getting into a new shock. We've just noticed that we are also getting into the shock of increase of pricing commodities and critical, essential commodities. Again, that affects the household.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, are women being recognized enough in the business world today?
Yes, to a great extent. We are acknowledged globally. Statistics show that women are actually highly engaged in business, and they contribute to the economy. Even the government recognizes us that we are the very good taxpayers. If you look at some of
on record, women in business pay more taxes, actually remit taxes than men in business.
Yes, we tend to take less risks. I know men take risks and then they do better in terms of their business. We are a bit careful in terms of how we transact our businesses, which is also a good thing on one hand, yeah.
All right, and also on the other hand, let's look at technology for women in business. How can the women use technology, and how can they use the digital space to push for their business growth?
Like I said earlier, when we got into COVID, of course, everybody noticed that the only way to go is going to digitalization. Okay. There are a lot of innovations and initiatives that have come on board. And one of the things that UWIL has been doing is train the women to be digital compliant. All right. We still have the fear as women. We are not as advanced as men on how they do their business using online opportunities. And we are continuing to expose the women entrepreneurs who are our members and those that are impacted by our program to ensure that they embrace the new technology to advance their businesses. I must say that one of the things that UWIL is doing is setting up a regional information platform that will be covering the whole of East Africa on trade issues. And this is an online digital platform we are setting up where we'll be transacting, we'll be marketing our goods online, we'll be getting buyers. We also have signed up a number of online platforms that our women who are part of us and who are doing business can actually connect to the other buyers and the sellers across the globe. We are part of the 50 million women project in Africa. All right. And what we are doing at the Secretariat, supported by Trademark East Africa, is to ensure that every woman can get instant information, whether you have a smartphone or not, on issues of trade. We are yet to launch the project, and I think this is going to be one of the key solutions that the women will actually enjoy, to be comfortable that they can trade even when they don't have to move or to worry about premises where you have to go and do your businesses from.
Okay, and also looking at what has, you've mentioned about the Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Association Limited pushing for women and all that. Yeah. Let's have more of the details to do with what else are you doing? What plans have you put in place to support women in business so as to recover from the shocks of the pandemic, look at the crisis, the economic crisis that they are in currently? This is affecting everybody in the business, regardless of whether you're a gent or a female and stuff like that. But also, let's look at it from a perspective of UWIL. What are you doing to ensure that these women stay afloat in business?
Thank you so much. One of the things that we have consistently been known to do as UWIL is to provide information. We do share timely information on the changes in terms of trading, in terms of business, in terms of services, and we ensure that the women are aware on the new changes, either in changes in policy, changes in pricing, and opportunities out there. So one of the things that we're known to do very well is information sharing, and I think we have managed to expand our partnership because we do ensure that we are custodian of trade information for women, and we take part to engage other counterparts to ensure that we have got relevant information to provide to the women. But in order to help the women get prepared, one of the core mandates that we are doing is to ensure that we continually build the capacity and provide the skills to women. We've been providing business development services to all the women out there. Right now we have some engagements in the area of shea butter. We have a number of women who are in shea butter in the northern Uganda, and we have prepared them. We have ensured they are together in cooperatives. We are marketing their products. We are trying to talk about standardization because we are aware unless the women have got quality standard products to get onto the shelf, but also to contribute towards the national development plan where our government is encouraging everybody to export, to get into industrialization. So all that preparation that we've been doing in different parts of the country, and we are hoping that the ladies are taking on the skills that we are giving them. We have also seen that some of our members, they are getting quality marks from UNBS, and that's a very good indicator that people are actually taking on what we are trying to teach them or what we are trying to communicate to them. We have strongly built up partnerships with agencies like Uganda Registration Bureau.
All right.
Because we are aware that the majority of our women who are engaging in business are still informal. And we're working very hard to ensure that we cross over to formalize the businesses. That's the conversation we have almost on a daily basis to see how can women also be part of the formalized businesses.
Okay.
And that will actually lead us to getting all the other recovery opportunities.
Okay.
UL has been partnering with the Uganda Development Bank to ensure that women can access financing. And for them to access financing, one of our mandate is to prepare the women to qualify.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, we are doing our best to position our women to that they can take advantage of the local market and the regional market at the same time.
All right. Speaking of regional markets and all that, you've mentioned something about women and the Uganda Development Bank.
Yes.
Are these particular loans that they acquire from this UDB or any other commercial bank, are they of low interest to them? Because most of the reason as to why business people fear going in for loans has been the issue of interest or collateral.
Yes, and I think, well, we were able to negotiate for a women product with UDB, and we do appreciate the management of UDB and the country to listen to our call and to bring down the conditions to access money. You know that in the past, to access money from UDB, you had to apply for over 1 billion shillings. So, sure. But right now you can start from 100 million. And we're also grouping our women together if they cannot get it at once as an individual. We're setting them into cooperatives, into women groups, so that they're able to access the financing at the same time and they're able to grow collectively. Okay. I think there is a very accommodative, reasonable packages now across the other banks, also even the financial banks.
Yes.
They're discussing with us and they're willing to help the women. One of the things that the women have always feared to not access financing, a collateral. And you know very well this has been a key problem and still a growing problem that women have lacked to access land. And it's partly cultural that some sections of the country women can never own land, but also partly because of all the roles that the women are involved in, that it's hard for them to access enough financing and they own a piece of land.
All right.
But we are encouraging them to get into that level. But when you look at some of the packages that the banks are offering now, some don't need collateral. And the women didn't know. Like I said, we provide that information to them. Okay. We build their capacity. We get the fear out of them. Because if you know very well, the women are predominantly in agriculture, doing their business in agriculture, and trying to teach them how agriculture is also a critical business that you can make money. They need assets. They need trucks. They need equipment. They may not necessarily need hard cash. That once they get that kind of asset, it will drive them to grow their business very quickly. Women in shea, they need a factory where they can, produce their shea in quality way. So we have educated them, and even those who don't have land can still access financing in this environment.
All right. Now, which programs do you intend to set up for the women that will as well help them? For example, you mentioned something to do with trainings and all that, but which programs do you have ahead of this year, and also speaking of maybe the next few years to come, that will help women in business?
Thank you very much. One of the things that I said earlier, we do provide networking opportunity to our women in this country, and you will happens to be among the COMESA countries that are networking closely. So we do partner with them, and I am chairperson of the Uganda COMESA chapter. So this year and this month, we have great news for the women in this country and men. And the investors out there, the business community out there. We have organized a COMESA trade fair at the museum starting from the 24th to 26th of August. We anticipating to have over 10,000 people present at the museum. We're also hoping that over 500 people will be exhibiting the products. They will showcase the good things that we have in our country. And it's a very good opportunity for everyone even when you anticipate to get into business, if you have a desire to have business, it's very important you come to the museum on those 2 days, 24th, there are 3 days actually. Come and see, and you can be inspired to have a startup. I think we all need to have some level of having some kind of business that can bring in money for our growth. And many times it starts with the trigger that you have seen some good product somewhere and you have asked somebody how they started and you're able to start. Okay. So it's a very great opportunity. But also, we will have a business clinic. We will have all the trade agencies in one roof, talking about some of the things that you didn't have solutions to. Simple things like having a tin URL will be there. Simple things like being able to register your desired name of your company. Your SB will be there. And also critical things that you have been having challenges to. And you will get business solutions on that day. For the 3 days, you'll be able to engage. Some of you don't know where to find these trade agencies. We're going to bring them close to you at the same place. And the clinics will run for 3 days. Throughout the time, they create awareness. They provide instant solutions to some of your needs. And we are hoping that Smart TV will be with us
surely
to tell the whole world that the opportunity is there. Come and embrace it. I must say about 35 countries so far have confirmed coming, and they're going to come along with their own products, will tell us about their services. So we provided a room for pitching. You'll be able to, to engage and even sign off contracts with the investors that are coming in this country. So it's a great opportunity, and we want to encourage many women to come and exhibit, to come and see, to come and visit people's stores, to come and listen. We have on one side a business conference, and experts in this country and across COMESA are going to be there. We are happy to associate with our Ministry of Trade, who are guiding us, and they're going to bring for us experts who will be able to talk to us. And we are proud of our country. This event is popularizing and positioning Uganda across COMESA country, that we can actually do very good business.
Okay, and this other question is more of, I wouldn't want to bring it out in this way. It doesn't have to look like an understatement, but I want to understand. What is the role of women in Uganda's economy today, if you were to elaborate more to these viewers?
I said it earlier, we play a very fundamental role towards the growth of this economy. We are the pillar, and I will take you very, very briefly from where we have been in COVID situation. Everybody needed food on the table.
Yes.
We made sure we had food security. We are highly involved in agriculture. We were growing food during that time, and we fed our nation and the neighborhood. For us, we are very proud. So that's one of the key fundamental contributions. But also, we are good stewardship of our country. We do market our country better because we believe in what we have, and we are. If you can look at how the tourism sector is doing, it's highly, the biggest percentage are women. The products that we are selling out there are for women. Women are in products that provide the tourists to come back, whereas we have a very good country. But a lot of things that the women are doing in this country that are contributing towards this economy, when you look at the key sectors, we are actually also trying to move to the next level, getting into larger industrialization and production as women, and the women are already getting in there. There's some women who are already into that space. And we continue to encourage and grow women to get into that space, into the larger production, into the larger procurement. But when it comes to the setting the ground, the women are there.
Okay, and then also let's look at mainly how can now women position themselves for these opportunities that you've created?
Yes.
Because you're creating for them, you're putting them through trainings and stuff like that, and then you've also, there is also COMESA coming here as well this very month. Now look at that. But how can they position themselves? Speaking of all the sectors, from the small, medium, and also the women in the micro enterprises, how best can they position themselves to hit into the opportunities that have been availed by the African Continental Free Trade Area, now also the East African Community, and COMESA as well?
Yes, one of the things that we have to work smart as women.
Okay.
We must demonstrate that we also can do very good business and ensure that our products are on standard. So one of the things that UWIL is doing is to expose them, to create opportunities for them. I like the way when you talk about the African Free Continent area, this is space that has been created for all of us as Africans. And we are going to mobilize as many women to see that they take part. And how we are mobilizing them and preparing them by ensuring that they have quality products. And UWIL has decided to establish or build a Women Incubation Center where we'll be nurturing all these innovations that can take advantage of the opportunities at the East African level, the opportunities at Africa level, and even at COMESA level. So the Women Incubation Center that we plan to put together will nurture products of women, which will make them get positioned in all this. That whereas the positions, the opportunities are there, we haven't reached that level of having very good brands as women. And that's what we are going to be focusing on between this year and the next year, to ensure that we have the Women Incubation Center, which can ensure that the women are positioned very highly. Even services, not just products, because we want smart women who can provide very good services out there.
Great. And smart women is what is the word for me there. Want smart women who can drive business like Smart 24 TV does, surely. And of course, I believe as women, this is time for you to step up. And this particular cabinet that we're having in the country clearly shows us how important women are, because when you look at the highest percentage of the top government officers are now headed by women. We've got to see even the business. In business now, women are stepping up. This has actually changed the other mentality that we had back then, that women may not be able to position themselves in the business world or be able to execute certain things, but now women are actually doing it far, far better than the men, if you could look at that. And because of even the roles that they're supposed to have, they have motherly roles at home. They have to do, we have all those domestic chores attached to the women at the end of it all, but then they also manage to execute their duties at work. And to all the mothers out there, whether a single mother or whether you are an independent woman striving for success, we wish you all the best, and you will definitely here to ensure that you also tap into those opportunities. Now, Mrs. Coney, if we are to look at the various, which tip would you give to a young university student, a young lady out there who is highly dreaming or visualizing herself to become something bigger in society?
One of the things I will tell the young entrepreneurs, I want to call them young entrepreneurs, or those who are still dreaming, first and foremost, you have to expose yourself. You've got to link to the people who are doing what you're dreaming about. And if you're dreaming about business, you have to come and engage with us. UWIL is one of them, the other key players, but you have to first get that exposure to appreciate yourself and get to know what you want. We will help you come up with the project ideas or build onto your vision, because that's one of the things that we do. But also we have a big team that can mentor young people. There's people who have been successful through working with UWIL and being with UWIL and associating with the business entrepreneurs across the country, that for you to get a very good business or good idea, you also need to be mentored. Let's not rush. We need to have a strategic way of ensuring that as you start, you're actually ready for what you're going to go for. So one of the things that I will tell everybody out there, it's very important that you get the exposure, it's very important that you get mentored to be able to run a very good business that can be successful.
I forgot to ask, what are some of those challenges that the women in business have been able to cite out that they are facing, and what is the best way to address these challenges?
Mr. Moderator, we continue to see and experience similar challenges all the time. And one of them that we have been trying to address for many years is the information gap. We are not as privileged as men who instantly get information in time. So the information gap still make women so vulnerable. Like I said, we see an increasing vulnerability gap between the men and women because of what the situation is now. And that obviously makes us into a situation where we don't get instant information,
Okay.
and that affects us. But the other critical issue that has continued to be a problem for business women is easy access to credit.
Okay.
You mentioned it early. Unfortunately, most financial institutions will ask you collateral, which we don't have, and that is land usually and other assets. We concentrate on the gender role, our motherly role, to have a home, to have the children in a better condition, and the men are busy investing and buying land and all that, which we cannot have to access collateral. So the issue of financial access is still a challenge, and of course that also deters growth of our visions and our businesses. And of course, once those two are being addressed, we will be able to have a very competitive world where women can be able to compete evenly with the men in terms of growing their businesses.
Okay, and we hope that happens. There's something that really hits me every time I'm discussing women in business sometimes, is the issue to do with harassment in workplaces, more especially that the women face from the men in terms of sexual harassment. Sometimes you've got to realize some university students will tell you when we go in for internship at workplaces, there are certain things that happen and they give us a different picture about what we actually think of. For example, in most cases, you realize a woman thinks there is a man out there who's going to support them entirely, just supporting them to reach somewhere without asking for any other favors that will actually limit her. So if you're to look at that, how have you been able to address this, and what is the best way to cut this vice?
Well, first of all, we need a shift in the mindset, an entire shift. This has been a cultural issue. It has been a continuous challenge everywhere, where women are taking advantage of whatever they're doing. And simple things, because one of the things, because they still increased poverty levels in this country and women are highly affected by poverty, so that it is easier to allow to be abused. And we condemn this. We don't want to continue seeing the gender-based violence continuing at workplace. It is unacceptable. The laws are very clear, and as a country and women movement, we don't think we can allow this to continue. We have a very good system in our country that allows us to speak out, that has given us an opportunity to express ourselves. The men should be able to listen at that level. But this aspect of abuse is an attitudinal element. It has to be changed. The cultural aspects that are still tying us have got to change. That whole mindset shift. And I think even in school we have to start teaching the young boys who are growing up that it's not right. Because it's not that we are equal, but if I have the same qualifications with you, why wouldn't you treat me the same? Why would you want to offer me a job because you must sleep with me first?
Okay.
This is unacceptable behavior in our society that have to end. There's no point about that. We must start punishing this kind of behavior and character in our society.
Indeed, and mindset change is something that we should work upon, definitely. All right, now, in the last 2 minutes, your final remarks as we're winding up with our discussion.
Yeah, as we, first of all, I thank you for the invitation, but very important is to invite the business community, the corporate agencies to join us for the Commercial Trade Fair that we have on the 24th, 25th, and 26th of August. At the museum, there you can call on us, you can check on our website, UE website, Comesa website. You'll be able to get the details of what we are doing. It's very simple. You pay a small registration fees of about 35,000, and you'll be there. But also, we want to market our country. So if you're a business community out there, come and show what you're doing for the good of our nation, because we love our country, Uganda, and then there's nobody else who can feel proud of the country apart from its citizen. So we believe that joining us will give a very good image to our country.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. And for the viewers out there, I'm still around though, and this has been our topic of discussion. We've been having the CEO of the Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Association, Connie Kechihembo, and that is You Will As You Hear It in there. So definitely we've been looking at how best women can position themselves to gain from the regional integration, or to at least step into those opportunities from the regional group, that is from the African perspective, East African community, and the entire world ideally. So after the break, I will be back with Barije Andrew on ground. This is Smart Means Business, and I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. Good morning.